Hey YouTube, what's up? In JT Sasuke, I'm here to bring you guys a review for The Flash. So let's jump right into this. This episode of The Flash was actually very interesting. I liked the fact that this was basically just a narrative of how they were going to get Barry back. In the previous episode, we got Barry being captured. In this episode, it was basically them escaping from Earth 2. We have a thing with Jay Garrick. We have I forget the name of the villain, but he can cause earthquakes. And what ended up happening was he caused an earthquake that call out Jay Garrick. And eventually, Jay Garrick did use what Velocity 8, or was it 7? At the beginning of the episode to save those people. He went back and seen that the Velocity Serum was causing him more cellular damage. What we ended up seeing was that Caitlin moved it to stage 8 and eventually moved up to stage 9, and Velocity 9 was able to actually repair the damage. It actually kicked in his latent or sleeping accelerated health, which, like I said, healed him from cellular damage. They still need to get the Velocity 9 to work more and more. Jay Garrick also fixed the portal, so now they can come through. He fixed the damage. What ended up happening was the Tremor guy, he ended up following Jay Garrick back to Star Labs and caused the tremor that Jay couldn't take him. We actually had Caitlin who took him down with the boot. And Caitlin's a terrible shot. She was aiming for his leg but hit him on the throat. It was funny because Iris did say, "Good shot," and Caitlin's like, "I was aiming for his leg." It was really funny because it just shows how Caitlin is a really bad shot. But we do get Joe. He takes the guy to prison, and Jay Garrick apologizes for not being able to come in time. They find out that the tremor and the earthquake that he made in Star Labs caused the machine that they used to travel from Earth to Earth to malfunction, and so they had to fix that. At the end of the episode, they did fix it, by the way. It was very high stakes. Jay Garrick still had Velocity 9 in his system, and he was able to run around it. And they found out how long it lasts, which I'm assuming it had to be for at least a few hours, in my opinion, unless I missed something. He took it. And he took it before running around to stabilize the thing, while Joe went around to make sure that all the levers were switched on into the on position, so that way it could completely stabilize everything and redistribute the energy correctly. But after Barry and everyone else escaped and came through, Jay Garrick apparently, I'm not going to say got killed, he got pulled back into Earth 2. So with that being said, we don't know what's happening with Jay Garrick now. Jay Garrick is gone. Iris has a new editor, and he wants to kind of deface the Flash only because the Flash hasn't been here to save people in the last couple of days, because he's been doing stuff on Earth 2, on Earth 2 trying to stop Zoom. And there was a new metahuman, and typically the Flash comes in and saves everybody, but he couldn't, and then a new Flash had to take his spot. So he wants to kind of deface the Flash and give the people an idea of, like, the Flash may not be the hero that we think he is. That's some bullshit. We all know that, and we're obviously not supposed to like this character. Hopefully they flesh him out later on, but we'll see. In the meantime, we go over to Earth 2, and basically the whole premise of Earth 2, what's happening on Earth 2 is to find Barry and to find Jesse. We find out that we find out that Barry, Earth 2 Barry, is actually going to be going with Iris, Earth 2 Iris, as well as Harrison Wells and Cisco, to go find Killer Frost, so that way they could talk her into taking them, I should say, to Zoom's lair, so that way they can save Jesse. We do get the fact that Barry and Jesse, they together learn the patterns of knots in which the guy in the Iron Mask is doing, and he spells out the word J, like Jay, as in Jay Garrick. So Jay Garrick has something to do with Zoom, it has something to do with Zoom, or has something to do with him. It could be that Jay Garrick is the actual person knocking, and that Zoom, and that the Jay Garrick that we know is not Jay Garrick. It could also be that Zoom is like a dark version of Jay Garrick. That could also be a thing. We're not sure. We do know that Zoom does not want whatever the guy was about to tell them to be released. And the guy definitely seems in distress. Barry did promise him that he would come back and get him. With that being said, they end up finding, but Cinco's group. Ooh, sorry guys. So Cinco's group, they find Killer Frost, and they end up having a quick little battle with her, in which Killer Frost is about to kill Iris, but Cisco pulls a gun on her and lets her know to drop saying to stop, otherwise that'll be the last icicle you ever make. Death threat. All we could see and hear Cisco being badass. He then calls her by the name Caitlin, and he starts to explain to her how he knows her because he knows his Caitlin from Earth 1, and knows that if you feel the same way about Ronnie as my Caitlin felt about Ronnie, it's tearing you up right now, and I can see that in your eyes, and you don't want to be called Caitlin because it reminds you of someone that you used to be that you're no longer, that you are no longer that person. And he said that you're not in code as you think you are. At least I would like to think that. All you have to do is tell us where it is. Oh, excuse me. So Killer Frost ended up actually showing them where where his lair is, and they went up there with her, and they ended up saving Jesse. And Barry actually gave himself, obviously, the Flash. So like Barry from Earth 2 ended up giving Barry from Earth 1 a pep talk on how to get out of the cage. Barry had an earlier confrontation with Zoom where he got beat up, not as bad as he did in episode 6 where he got his back broken, he was all bloody and he being carried around the city. But he did get beat up. But Zoom did teach him inadvertently how to get out of the cell, which is to phase through. Initially he couldn't because he was vibrating at a different frequency from that Earth, which is interesting because wouldn't he phase out of sync with that Earth? Like, wouldn't he go back to his Earth? But that's just a side thought. And what ended up happening was he gave himself a pep talk, and Barry ended up doing it. They ended up getting to a confrontation with Zoom in which Killer Frost attacked Zoom because he ended up trying to kill Jesse Quick in front of Harrison Wells. And what ended up happening was what ended up happening was she related that to Ronnie, and attacked Zoom, allowed them to escape. They went back to Star Labs. They went through the portal. He had a second confrontation with Zoom because he had to bring Cisco and Jesse back, and then he was going to come back for Harrison Wells, but Zoom had got there before he could. They obviously got Harrison Wells to come back. Harrison Wells stabbed him with a speed dampener, and then him and Barry went through the portal, and that's when Jay Garrick got sucked back through before it closed, because they were able to close in the portal. And that was the episode. It was a really good episode. I really liked it. I can't wait to see what happens next. A couple things that I have for the future is that I hope that Barry stops doubting himself. I know the Flash from the comics is a very confident character. He can doubt himself sometimes, and that's still his greatest downfall, even in the comics, is that he doubts himself. But for the most part, he's very confident. I'm hoping that Barry starts to get confident by himself, about his abilities, and the hope that he actually starts to get faster through opening up his connection with the Speed Force. I hope that the Speed Force becomes this like alternate place where you can pull in more energy from. So that's what I'm hoping. And with that being said, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Comment down below, let me know what you guys thought, and subscribe to my channel for more content. See you guys later. Peace.